Hello everybody, this is JD. Some of you out there are not going to like what I have to say. You're going to think, oh, it's wrong, but you're going to have to go through the book, The Constitution of the United States, and you're going to see what I'm saying is true. I went through it from cover to cover, the Constitution, and I do not find anywhere where, including the Fourth Amendment, this TSA inspections are interfering with your rights, liberties, and privileges. What I did find, though, is that you people who are getting up and yelling are really interfering with other people's rights, liberties, and privileges. You see, these aircraft that you choose to fly on are owned by somebody else. They have a right to protect their property. They have a right to dictate how their property will be used. Some of you want to quote Benjamin Franklin saying, "For security, those who give up liberties for securities deserve no liberties." That's right. Those people who own the planes to give up their rights to protect their property deserves no rights to protect their property. They have the right to protect their property. Now, how about you people who are going through these inspections? Well, what about your rights? Where does your rights end? Your rights end at you have the right to travel across country. Anywhere you want. That's your right. No one can take that from you. But how you choose to do it is your option. That is not a right. Now, I have found during my time in the military when I had to fly, I did not like the pat-downs, and now they're more intrusive than ever. So, since I retired, I haven't flown. Now, I've gone from Norfolk, Virginia to St. Louis, from Norfolk, Virginia to Grand Rapids, Michigan, Norfolk, Virginia to New York City. I've gone from Norfolk, Virginia to Jacksonville, Florida, after I retired. How did I do it then? I drove. I don't like for someone to go and grab me and stuff. I had the option to either accept the pat-downs or choose the option of not accepting the pat-downs and saying no and drive. And that's what each and every one of you have out there who fly. Understand, if Benjamin Franklin was alive today, he would say, if you rented a horse from a man who said that my horse is only allowed to travel 10 miles a day, you can rent my horse, but for you to go to the city 30 miles away, you will have to take your trip in 3 days. And you say, no, I can do it in 1 day. No, my horse will only go 10 miles a day. He has that right to set that limit. Now, if you wish to use his horse, you must only travel 10 miles a day. Either that, or you have the option to buy your own horse, and you can ride him 30 miles in 1 day. If he dies almost there, that's your choice. That's the difference. I will not give up any of my liberties. None. Not a single one. But these pat-downs and these x-rays are not my liberties. They are the rights of the individual who owns the aircraft to protect their property. They're the right of the federal government to ensure a safe flight for everyone who travels by air. What about you? You have the right to choose what type, but that's an option. Once you choose it, you have to obey the regulations as set forth by the people who own the property you choose. No one can say you can't go across this country. You have that right, but how you choose to do it is an option. Now, if you don't want to go through the pat-downs, and if you don't want to go through the x-rays, you can do that. You buy your own plane. You drive your car. You go by train or bus. You do not have to get the pat-downs, and you do not have to be x-rayed. No one forces that on you. But if you choose to fly, if you choose that option, the people who own the property you're using have a right to have it protected. And they do have that right to say, this will be done to protect my property. You have the option to say yes or no. No one's holding a gun to your head and saying you have to do it. It's plain and simple. You have the option to choose the mode you want to travel, not the right. Unless you own the planes. Now, if you own all the planes, all the trains, all the cars, and you own everything, then you have the right to choose any way you want to travel. You can go to your plane and fly, and no one's going to pat you down. You can go to your car and drive, or you can ride your train. Or if you have a bus like some rock stars have, you can ride the bus. No one's going to pat you down. That's their property. They have that right to use it the way they wish. But when you use other people's property, it's no longer a right. It's an option. They have a right to protect their property. So you people are out there who are claiming the Fourth Amendment and all that, got to start understanding. The Constitution isn't there just for you and you alone. It guarantees all these rights and privileges to everyone equally. And when you try to take your liberties and your rights and privileges and force them onto another person, you have just exceeded the limits of the Constitution. You don't have that right. Nobody in this country has the right to force upon anybody. And you're trying to force upon your will to the people who own and trying to protect their property. You don't have that right. You do have the right to travel, but you only have the option to choose how you travel. Unless you own all the options, then you have the right, and no one can say anything about it. If you own an airline, you could come up there and say, look, that's my plane. I'm not getting pat down. I'm not being x-rayed. I can go on that plane by myself any way I want. And they can't stop you. The thing is, though, nobody else in the civilian world or the outside world can travel with you. But you can fly that plane, or your pilots can fly it for you. I'm sure many CEOs that fly around the country don't go through these pat-downs and x-rays. I'm almost would guarantee it. Because they have that right. You, using other people's equipment, only have the option. You have the right on what you own. You only have the option to use other people's equipment as long as they make it available, but you must follow the procedures on how they make it available. So if you do not wish to go through the x-rays, if you do not wish to go through the pat-downs, you don't have to. You have your option. You can either travel a different mode or buy your own plane. That's what this is about. The people who own those aircraft have the right to protect their investment, their property, and you have the right to travel, but you only have the option to use their equipment, not the right to use their equipment. Sorry, people, the Constitution doesn't say the poor people have the rights over the rich people. It says everyone has the same equal rights. It doesn't say everyone has the same property. It says you have a right to protect your property. You have a right to deem how your property will be used. But it doesn't say someone else has the right to tell you how to use your property. And that's what you all are trying to do. You're trying to tell the people who own the airlines how they should use their property. Bottom line is, if you don't want the pat-downs, you don't want the x-rays, you have the option to drive. That you will be given. You have the right to travel. How you choose is an option, not a right. Thank you. This is JD.